We've covered a lot of ground in this module: 12 markers, 2 levels of agreements, dozens of practical distinctions. Before you move on, I want to pull it all together so you walk away with the essentials clearly in mind. Because here's what I've learned after training hundreds of coaches. The ones who struggle aren't the ones who lack skill. They're the ones who never got the foundation right. And agreements, that's your foundation. So let's start with the big picture. Everything we've covered fits into one of 2 categories. Engagement agreements are about the relationship. They set the framework for how you and your client will work together across your entire partnership. You establish these once at the beginning, and you revisit them when circumstances change. Session agreements are about the conversation. They're what you create fresh every single time you sit down together. What are we focusing on today? What does success look like for this specific session? Both levels are essential. Skip one, and even excellent coaching skills won't save you. Let's break down the engagement level. You start by explaining what coaching is and articulating your own philosophy. This is new in 2025. ICF now expects you to clearly describe your approach, not just define coaching generically. Then you establish the parameters, logistics, confidentiality, how you'll communicate, what the boundaries are. You work together to set goals for the overall engagement and honestly assess whether you're the right coach for this client. And here's what many coaches miss. You plan for the ending from the beginning. How will you know when the work is complete? What does a successful conclusion look like? These aren't afterthoughts. They're part of competent practice. Now for the session level, where coaching actually happens. Every conversation starts with identifying the goal. And I want you to notice I said goal, not topic. We'll come back to that distinction. Once you have the goal, you clarify what specifically needs to be addressed in this conversation. Then you define meaningful measures of success, something concrete that tells both of you whether the session delivered value. And throughout, you manage time and focus while following your client's direction. Notice that balance. You're responsible for keeping things on track, but you're not driving the agenda. The client is. Here are the distinctions that make or break your practice. First, topic is not goal. When a client says, I want to talk about my job, that's a topic. The goal is what they want to achieve or discover through that conversation. Keep digging. Second, the 1 to 10 scale is a starting point, not an end point. Numbers don't tell you what success actually looks like for this specific person. You need to go deeper. Third, agreements evolve. You're not locked in. When circumstances change, revisit what you've agreed to. And pay attention to the 2025 editions. Your coaching philosophy, client commitment to goals, and actively revisiting agreements. These aren't optional, they're now explicit expectations. So here's what I want you to take away. Look at this pyramid. Clear agreements are at the foundation. Everything else, powerful questions, active listening, trust and safety, builds on top of what you establish here. Agreements aren't administrative tasks you rush through to get to the real coaching. They are the coaching. They create the container that makes everything else possible. And it's your responsibility, not your clients', to establish them, manage them, and revisit them throughout the relationship. Before you move to Module 3, take some time for reflection. That's where we're headed next.